Welcome to Secura Law Experience. I'm Luis Elizalde, founder of Secura Law. I'm here with
Stephanie de la Millar
and Eduardo Borgard.
Great. Today is going to be an amazing episode, a new one without a guest, only the three of us. That's something that is always good. I have the topic of today is something that I'm pretty sure that a lot of clients and a lot of people outside of Mexico, they are asking why the Notary Public is so expensive in Mexico. Is it really that expensive? Do you think? Of course, if you compare it with United States or Canada, they charge $3 for anything. Looks like expensive, but why? Why in Mexico is like that?
Well, considering the time that the notaries invest in their golfing, I will say that it is expensive.
Yeah, kind of.
The lifestyle that they have? No, I'm kidding.
Well,
no.
If you divide it like...
No,
like
but that depends. That depends. The lifestyle that they have, but the notary that they work. You know, because there is a lot of notary that... I don't want to say that they don't have something to eat, but... You know, it's like they don't want to work too much because it's too much work behind the scenes that normally we don't know exactly what they are doing. But to say the truth, is a lot of work behind everything. So
and they need a lot of personnel. They need a lot of staff.
Exactly.
So their payroll it's huge, to say the truth.
I think that will be the first difference. In the United States and in Canada, usually a notary is just one person. Usually, and they most likely work in a bank, because I've seen notaries that work in banks and others that are by themselves. But here, the notary function is like an institution, basically. You have a building full of people working on the same thing, right? Under this guy, which is the Notary Public.
That has to be an attorney, more than 10 years of experience. He has to do an exam. A test, exactly. That's the theoretical. The practical is kind of different. We are not gonna dip into that because they can cancel us. But it's something that is a little different. But from my point of view, all of these years, I think that is more the person that really works. Sometimes looks like they are not doing anything, but in order to be in that position. After years of working, sometimes you say, hey, they earn a lot of money, but it was after a lot of years of work. You know, it's something that normally you only see the tip of the iceberg. You don't see the complete iceberg, you know? Yes. So, but that's more like the general information. I don't know if you want to touch base with something else.
I will say that actually, I mean, they have a huge responsibility and a lot of laws to comply with. It's amazing the amount of laws and regulations that rule their functions. So I personally worked 2 times in a notary, and it's too much pressure, too much to think about. Every word that it's in a public deed has to be think about what is the right word to put in order to comply with X rule, you know. So every word that is put in a public deed, it's there for a reason.
Exactly.
So it is a really hard work to do.
And that's the work in itself, like the one that we are seeing. But at the end, they have a responsibility that it's not like they ask for it, but the government put a pressure on it and on them in obligation to retain taxes. Mm-hmm. You know, that's
half of the money, basically.
A little more, I think. If we go to a closing, let's say in a real estate transaction, we are talking a little more than half of the cost.
Fees.
Yeah,
it's just for taxes and expenses.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's like 65%, and the other is the fees. But we are talking only one of the things the government put obligations in the Notary Public, because one is the taxes, the other is all the notice that they have to give or provide to all the institutions. Is crazy. You know?
Plus complying with state and federal laws, because One of the things that's very peculiar about us is that in one transaction, you have several people involved in the notary side taking care of their own things. Someone has to take care of the anti-money laundering law. Somebody has to give the notices. Somebody has to do the actual writing of the deed. Somebody else has to take care of it in the public registry, right? Somebody else has to take care of the expenses and paying those taxes. So there's a team involved there. Yeah, it's not just one guy.
On time, that's a really good, because as I said, if you don't work, if you are a notary that you don't use to work, to do that, or they don't want to pay extra to get people to help or to do the business, to run the business, they can receive the money, they can keep it in their pockets, and then with the time they're gonna to the municipality to pay to the public registry. That's crazy, you know.
Yeah.
That's the reason they say, it's too expensive, you know, because they saw that the notary is taking a lot of time, taking all the money for him, you know. That kind of thing is.
Yeah, and the pressure that you said that they have from the government that issue those notary patents, they also have the pressure because they're working against the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, once everything starts, they have to run against the clock to pay them, to register them, to file them, all that. That's a huge pressure.
You know what is crazy? For example, now that you're saying that, with the municipality, when you have to pay the acquisition tax, of course, before that, the municipality requests all the documents to make the calculation. And the Notary Public has 15 days after you sign to get that calculation. You will say, okay, I'm going to submit all the documents on the day 15 because I have a lot of work, so I have time to do it in the day 15. In that moment, there is a fine. Hey, but the term is 15 days. Yeah, but you know what? The municipality need like 3 days, 4 days to give an amount that is already there. It's just 3%.
Just
you know?
Confirm it.
Yeah, exactly.
The official receipt.
Yeah.
So when you have that calculation and you submit everything in the 15 day and they give you in the 18, 19, they give you the calculation with the fine. Hey, but I comply with everything. I deliver everything on term and everything. No, sorry. Because the payment has to be 15 days. So it's not like that they have 15 days. They have like 10 or 9 working days to deliver or submit everything to the municipality. It's crazy.
Yes.
It is.
And that's one of the little and the most simple things to do, you know?
Now, how the notary has to face that type of problems?
Good. There is 2 options. One, I don't care, and the client has to pay me the difference because I'm not gonna put the money.
Yes. It's not my fault.
Exactly. That kind of notary is something that they feel like I comply with everything. I don't care, and they are not responsible for their actions. And I have to say the truth here. And it's in video, in internet, everything. I hate that, you know. It's your responsibility. You have clients. You have someone that is bringing money to you for a service. And you are doing that kind of things. I'm going to keep it in my mind.
Yes, the trust, it's a very high value asset to put in a person, to waste it that way, to say, it's not my fault, so I'm sorry, you have to pay more.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's not my fault. No, you are trusting on me as a professional, so I will behave professionally and I will take the responsibility. I know that it's not mine completely, but it's now in my hands, so I have to solve it. That is the way that we like to work over this.
Oh, look, notary that work like that they
Yes.
are that the same with our philosophy. If they are coming to us for a service, we are gonna be responsible when the ball is in our court, you know. So that is very simple. It's a value that I don't know why it's losing the world is losing that kind of values, but we have it here.
Yes.
It's not a commercial. It's just the reality how we are.
Yes. And that's why we are very meticulous about what a notary we decide to work with.
Oh,
Because
yes.
most of them have this philosophy, and I understand it's not their fault. They have to deal with a lot of authorities. But in our philosophy, we have to put the clients first always. And if that takes some money from your pocket, it's worth it in our perspective, I think.
Yeah, no, it's only responsibility. It's the way to fulfill the expectation of the clients. And sometimes they don't really know all about this, but it's something that we are not only doing by the client or for the client. It's something that we are doing because it's the correct thing to do. You know, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's expensive, but it's the correct way to do it, the correct way to work. And if we find a notary that is equal with our philosophy, I think that's the reason we have a really good team right now. But we were talking about the notary, and we find
Yeah, but I mean, that's where we come in, because at the end of the day, we are part of the equation. So that's where the client has to take a leap of faith with us, to trust us, to guide them in the direction that we are talking about, because we're looking for values, because we're looking for somebody that will respond, because we don't know what might happen in the future. The transaction could be going perfectly, and at some point something happens, right? And that's where you don't want to find people that just says, hey, that's not my issue, right? You deal with it, you pay the extra. So that's part of the whole scope of things during a real estate transaction.
Yeah, exactly. And it's impressive that experience. Let's take some experience with, for example, we used to work. No, we didn't work exactly with that notary, but we know that for keep or to save like 1,000 pesos, or we're talking about, I don't know, the preventive notice. How much is right now? Like
3,000 pesos.
But
For both of them.
For both, so
Should be like
1,500. Yeah, exactly. 1,500 for the first one. That is before the closing, and the second notice after the closing. And they say, nah, there is no necessity to do the first one. So I'm gonna keep that for my pocket. And
it's not that they're gonna keep it forever. It's just for a little bit, right?
What do you mean?
Because they have to pay it at the end of the day.
No, they don't have to pay it.
They just keep it
for
at
them.
all.
Yeah, exactly. And imagine
Worse.
if you have, yeah, exactly.
That's worse.
And if you have 100 real estate transaction, there is 150,000 pesos that you save or you don't do it. But if there is a problem, as you said, the process starts, and you can give to your client that certainty that is doing right thing if the process is correct. If you do the first notice, preventive notice, recorded in the public registry, then the transaction, and then the second notice, and something happened meanwhile, and during that process, if they have a sue or something, that property is protected for all that time. So that's amazing. And if you're missing something, and something happened, and you didn't do the first step, that is the first preventive notice, you don't have a case, and you can lose your real estate. So your unit. So it's basic for 15,000. No,
1,500.
1,500. You save your client, you know.
Yes.
And keep it in your.
That's
for
a
only
really
that?
good bang for your buck, as they say.
Or what about the notaries that keep the acquisition tax?
Wow, those are scary ones. And as you said, not one. I mean, just with 5, it's a lot of money,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Not with 100. So that's the thing, that they are appointed by the government. They are, in my opinion, government officials, because they
Good.
have the stamp and the government's
Approval.
authority and
Yeah.
faculties and authorities to act on behalf of them. But they're still people, you know, so you have to be very careful in choosing who provides that kind of service at the end of the day.
You're right. It's a mix. It's
Yeah.
a very particular mix of faculties from an authority, but being a private service
Entity, yeah.
provider, no? So yes, and I mean, even though also about capital gains, to try to hook with the client, they say, oh yes, you will be paying 1,000 US in capital gain taxes, and at the closing, we have been there, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, and now you have to pay 10,000, and you are already sitting in the table, and you are like, and if you don't comply right now, signing the contract, well, you will be breaching
Default. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, and really, that kind of things happen. But I think that must happen, and it could be, doesn't have to happen, because the notary can know the number. It's not like, no, it's crazy.
Yes, it is an already calculated amount on. Of course, that we depend highly on the exchange rate because we are doing transaction in U.S. dollars or Canadian dollars, so we have to be careful about it. But again, with the correct expertise, I think you can prevent this type of surprises and be ready to provide to the client the accuracy that they need in order to comply with their own obligations. So why a notary is expensive? Because they have a lot to comply with, and they will have to perform a highly committed job with you. If they are quoting something that is super low than the general market, there is something there.
You need to exactly, because you need to know something. The fee of the notary is established in the law. It's not like I'm gonna charge today. Yeah, exactly. Oh, this client looks like he can pay $1 million. No, it's not like that. It's established in the law. They can, if they want, if they think the service is really amazing, they can add a little bit. For example, when they have a mortgage with the bank, they always hire a little bit because at the end, the bank is the one that is paying the fees. But, when it's like really low, and they keep the money of the prevent notice, or they don't do little things, is that kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
I've seen clients that we work with them and we choose the notary for them, and then at the end of the day they like go shopping around and they find the notary that in this case the notary was charging 1.5% of the purchase
Nothing.
price as a notary fee, and that's not even the 3% of the taxes, so it's very obviously. We told them, hey,
It was 1%, right? Or
something like that.
Yeah.
And we said, look, this is not going to be enough money, not even for your taxes. So your transaction is not going to go through. So be smart. No, I want to save money. Is it cheaper? All right.
How can you translate our famous quote in Mexico, the lo barato sale caro?
Maybe
The-
cheaper turns expensive.
That's
Turns more
crazy. Like,
expensive, yeah.
yeah,
Something like that.
there is always something. As Stephanie said, that is too cheap to say. It's too good to be true. Something is there. You don't have to go for the cheapest, and that's a normal thing. And you don't have to go for the expensive one. You have to have common sense or hire us. Commercial.
We'll take care of you.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
Yes.
No, but I'm gonna pay another fee to the notary that is expensive, a notary and Secura Law, more fees. Yes, but we are gonna save you problems, headache,
Yes.
and
Protect your investment. Again, you are not buying a T-shirt or a good meal. You are buying a real estate, and that is an important asset of your patrimony. So I don't think that it will be smart to save a couple of thousands to put in risk a couple of 100,000.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
definitely.
You are keeping the cents, and
Giving away the dollars.
exactly, no makes sense. No makes sense. But at the end, with all of this, do you still thinking that the Notary Public is expensive? But we have to be a little more objective, because culturally in Mexico we can say yes, that's the normal thing. Though the normal response directly is yes, it looks really expensive. But when you know exactly all the work that is behind and all the responsibility with a good notary public, still thinking that is expensive?
No, I don't, because that's something that has to be done. I mean, to secure your investment with the property, to legally convey it over to you, you have to cover these taxes, these expenses, these institutions. So, I mean, if the taxes were different, then the price is worth it, but it's added up with the taxes. So that's a burden that we have to charge, right?
Yes.
You?
I will say that yes, it is expensive, the fees that they charge. However, it's worth it.
Good.
I mean, if you want a very high performance from a professional, the professional has to feel that they have been well paid so they can perform properly. That is a reality.
Everywhere,
right?
not just here.
If you are hiring an architect and you are paying poorly, maybe they will do a poor job, and that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you are paying a very good fee, you can now exigir. How do you say?
You would expect
Yes.
a good service.
No?
Yeah.
It's very simple. You pay bananas, you get monkeys. You know, it's like that. So, yeah, it's very simple. So, if you have if you're looking for a really good service, is you have to pay for it. Hey, I want a really amazing service that all the time, and you want to pay $1? Come on.
Exactly.
It's not. There is no way that it's gonna be cheap, good, and I don't know. It's something that has to be a balance.
You get what you
Yes.
pay for.
Yeah, that's it. It's very simple.
Totally.
So I will respond my own question. Yes, I still thinking that it's expensive, but as Stephanie said, worth it. Why? Because at the end there is a lot involved, and also yes, in the closing cost looks really expensive, but think in the annual fees of the long term. In Mexico, it's very cheap. The property tax is not even
0.5%.
Yeah, it's crazy cheap, and you have discounts. So, if you're thinking, for example, in US or Canada, we are talking like not as a general rule, but minimum by the commercial value that is the property, you're gonna pay 1% of the property tax. Here is not even 0.00. It's 0.0019%. When it's a unit, a house or something, when it's a lot, it's 0.0035, I think, or 36, something like that. It's still nothing. You know, so you are paying per advance a lot of money that is securing your investment in a country that sometimes you hear, it's not that good, but you're going to love it when you're here. And because we love it, of course. And at the end is, for the long run, it's cheap. So, yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this episode was a little short, but with a lot of information, really good for you. Sorry that we have to say goodbye so fast. The next one is going to be for 2 hours. Nah.
To compensate.
Exactly. No. But thank you so much for watching us. Do you have anything to conclude?
Come
Trust your
with us.
lawyers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Awesome. Thank
Definitely.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.